Trailer trash doesn't belong in our family, Patricia Whitmore announced to the entire Sunday dinner table, her voice cutting through the gentle clink of her Tiffany silverware like a chainsaw through silk. The irony of her statement wasn't lost on me. Every fork she lifted, every crystal glass she sipped from, every thread in the Persian rug beneath her Louboutins was mortgaged to the hilt, while the trash she was insulting owned her debt. My phone buzzed in my lap, and I glanced down to see my realtor's text, foreclosure approved. You now own 455 Maple Street. Eviction notice? My thumb hovered over the screen as Patricia continued her performance for the assembled Whitmore clan, her spineless son Marcus, my husband, his enabling father Gregory, and her two carbon copy daughters Bethany and Claire, who nodded along like bobbleheads at everything Mommy Dearest said. I mean, really, Marcus, she continued, dabbing at her lips with a monogrammed napkin, linen, $45 each. I knew because I'd seen the invoice my company had processed. When you said you were marrying a real estate agent, I pictured someone from the Berkshires, not someone who grew up in a double-wide in Alabama. It was Mississippi, actually, I said quietly, cutting into my filet mignon, the one I'd watched her charge to a credit card that was 3 months behind on payments. And it was a single-wide. If you're going to insult my childhood, at least get the facts right. Gregory choked on his wine. Bethany gasped. Claire's fork clattered against her plate. But Patricia just smiled that venomous smile I'd come to know so well over the past 3 years. Oh, darling, I'm not insulting you. I'm simply stating facts. You come from nothing. Marcus comes from legacy. Whitmore Legacy Properties has been in this family for 4 generations. 3, I corrected. Your husband's grandfather started it in 1962. That's 3 generations, not 4. Her eye twitched. Semantics. No, Patricia. That's math. But I understand numbers aren't everyone's strong suit. I took a sip of my water, letting that land. My phone buzzed again. Marcus touched my arm. Honey, maybe we should. Should what, Marcus? I looked at my husband, the man I loved despite his titanium spine deficiency. Let your mother continue to insult me? Or should I continue to sit here politely while she rewrites history? I'm not rewriting anything, Patricia snapped. I'm protecting my son from someone who clearly married him for his money and status. I laughed. I couldn't help it. The sound echoed in their formal dining room, the one with the hand-painted wallpaper from France that was about to legally become mine. Something funny? Patricia's perfectly microbladed eyebrows arched dangerously. Very. I pulled out my phone, opening the text from my realtor, Jeff Kowalski. Can I share something with the family? Since we're all about honesty tonight. Natalie, don't, Marcus warned, but his voice carried all the authority of a soggy paper towel. I stood up, smoothing down my dress, vintage Halston, purchased at an estate sale for $200, 3 months ago. Patricia came to my office. Do you remember that, Patricia? Her face paled beneath her spray tan. I don't know what you're. You wanted to sell this house. Said the market was hot and you wanted to downsize. Asked me to list it. I walked slowly around the table, feeling every eye on me. I told you that in this market, with your neighborhood's declining property values, you'd get maybe $750,000. You laughed in my face. Said this house was worth at least $1.2 million. Said I clearly didn't know luxury real estate. This is hardly appropriate dinner conversation, Gregory interjected weakly. Oh, but Daddy Gregory, we're just getting to the good part. I stopped behind Patricia's chair. So I did what any professional would do. I pulled the public records. All of them. Would you like to know what I found? Silence. The kind that happens right before a tornado touches down. Your precious Whitmore Legacy Properties is $3.2 million in debt. This house has been in foreclosure proceedings for 4 months. You've missed 7 mortgage payments. The Bentley in the driveway? Leased, and 3 months behind. The country club membership you brag about? Suspended for non-payment. You had no right. Patricia shot up from her chair, fury and fear mixing in her eyes. I had every right. It's all public record, Patricia. Anyone with an internet connection and 10 minutes can find it. I held up my phone. But here's where it gets interesting. When a property goes into foreclosure, it gets auctioned. I attended that auction. Last Tuesday. 2 p.m. County Courthouse. Marcus stood now too, his face a mixture of confusion and dawning horror. Natalie, what did you do? I bought your mother's house. I smiled at Patricia, sweet as arsenic. For $480,000. Cash. Well below market value, but that's how foreclosure auctions work. The bank just wanted their money back. The sound Bethany made was somewhere between a gasp and a shriek. Claire grabbed her sister's arm, both of them staring at me like I'd just sprouted horns. That's impossible, Patricia whispered. You don't have that kind of money. You're a real estate agent. You work on commission. Oh, honey. I returned to my seat, cutting another piece of steak. I'm not just a real estate agent. I'm the owner of Summit Property Solutions. We buy distressed properties, flip them, and rent them out. I own 47 properties across 3 states. My company cleared $2.3 million last year. After taxes. Gregory's wine glass slipped from his fingers, red wine spreading across the white tablecloth like blood. But you drive a Toyota, Claire said stupidly. A 2019 Toyota Camry. Paid in full. Excellent gas mileage, reliable, and doesn't depreciate like your mother's leased Bentley. I looked at Marcus. Your mother has been telling everyone I'm after your money for 3 years. The truth is, baby, I make 4 times what you make. I just never felt the need to announce it at Sunday dinner. Marcus sank back into his chair. Why didn't you tell me? Because you never asked. You assumed, just like your mother did, that because I came from poverty, I was still poor. You saw my business casual clothes and my practical car and made assumptions. I touched his hand gently. I love you, Marcus. But I'm tired of being disrespected in this house. By your mother, by your sisters, by everyone who thinks growing up poor means staying poor. You can't evict us, Patricia said, but her voice had lost its venom. Now she just sounded scared. This is our family home. Actually, I can. The foreclosure sale was final yesterday. I own this property. But here's what I'm willing to do. I pulled out a folder from my bag. I'd come prepared. Rent? Bethany looked horrified. Mother, are we really going to rent from her? Where else are we going to go, Bethany? I asked. Your mother's credit is destroyed. No legitimate landlord will touch her. And good luck getting approved for another mortgage with 7 missed payments on record. Patricia aged a decade in that moment. All the Botox and fillers in the world couldn't hide the reality settling over her like a shroud. You planned this. You've been planning this. No, Patricia. You planned this. You planned this every time you called me trailer trash. Every time you forgot to include me in family photos. Every time you introduced Marcus as your son and me as Marcus's friend. I counted them off on my fingers. You planned this when you told your country club friends I was a gold digger. When you said my mama raised me in a meth lab, which, by the way, is defamation, and I could sue. My mother was a waitress who worked double shifts to keep a roof over our heads after my daddy died, I continued, my voice steady despite the emotion building in my chest. She taught me that every dollar matters. That debt is a trap. That just because you can't afford something today doesn't mean you can't afford it tomorrow if you work hard enough and smart enough. I stood again, gathering my purse. Marcus, I'm leaving. You can come with me, or you can stay here with your family. But I'm done being insulted for having the audacity to succeed despite my circumstances. Natalie, wait, Marcus reached for me. The lease starts on the 1st, I said to Patricia, ignoring my husband for the moment. I'll have Jeff email you the paperwork. It's a standard 1-year lease with an option to renew. Rent is due on the 1st, late after the 5th, eviction proceedings begin after 30 days non-payment. I'm a businesswoman, Patricia, not a charity. How could you do this to family? Claire asked, tears in her eyes. Family? I looked at each of them. Family doesn't call each other trailer trash. Family doesn't exclude people from photos. Family doesn't lie about where someone came from or mock their dead parents. My voice cracked slightly on that last one. You've never treated me like family, Claire. I'm just returning the favor. I walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and Patricia? That Tiffany silverware you love so much? I checked. It's not vintage. It's reproductions from HomeGoods. $89 for a set of 12. My mama had the same set. The sound of her scandalized gasp followed me out the door. I made it to my Camry before the tears came. Not sad tears, angry tears, frustrated tears, 3 years of suppressed emotions finally breaking through. My phone rang. Marcus. Don't, I said when I answered. Don't make excuses for her. I'm not calling to make excuses. His voice was quiet. I'm calling to say I'm sorry. You're right. About all of it. I should have defended you. I should have stood up to her years ago. Yes, you should have. I'm coming with you. I paused, hand on my steering wheel. Are you sure? That's your family in there. You're my family. You're my wife. And I've been a coward. I could hear movement, voices in the background. Give me 5 minutes to grab some things. Marcus, think about this. I've thought about it for 3 years, Natalie. Every Sunday dinner, every holiday, every time she took a shot at you and I said nothing. I'm done thinking. I'm choosing you. True to his word, he appeared 5 minutes later with an overnight bag, his laptop case, and a set look on his face I'd never seen before. They're threatening to disown me, he said, tossing his bag in the back seat. I know. I heard your mother screeching from the driveway. She said I'm choosing a gold digger over my own mother. And what did you say? He smiled, a real smile, not the polite one he wore at family functions. I said my wife is the only person in this family who isn't bankrupt, morally or financially. Then Bethany threw a dinner roll at me. Despite everything, I laughed. A dinner roll? Yeah, the one from that fancy bakery mom always brags about. Hit me right in the chest. Very aggressive baked goods. He reached over and took my hand. Where are we going? My place. Well, one of my places. The loft downtown. You have a loft downtown? I have 3 loft apartments downtown. I rent out 2. The third one is mine. Has been for a year. He stared at me. Have you been living a double life? Not double. Just private. Your mother made it very clear she didn't respect my career. So I stopped sharing it with her. And by extension, with you. I started the car. I'm sorry I kept that from you. Don't apologize. I gave you every reason to keep your success to yourself. He was quiet for a moment. Natalie? How much are you really worth? Including liquid assets, property equity, and business valuation? About $4.8 million. The silence stretched for 3 full traffic lights. My trust fund is $200,000, he said finally. And I don't get access to it until I'm 40. That's 5 years from now. I know. I saw the trust documents when your mother tried to use them as leverage to get me to sign a postnup last year. She what? Long story. I'll tell you over wine at the loft. I squeezed his hand. Marcus, I don't care about your money. Or lack thereof. I married you because you're kind and funny and you cry during Pixar movies. I do not cry during Pixar movies. You sob during Coco. Like, full-body sobs. That movie is emotional warfare and you know it. We drove in comfortable silence for a while, the city lights blurring past. Finally, Marcus spoke again. What happens now? With the house? I meant what I said. I'll rent it to them at below market rate. I'm not cruel, Marcus. I'm just done being a doormat. And if they don't pay? Then I evict them and rent it to someone else. It's a nice property in a good location. Even with the declining values, it'll rent easily. Mom's going to lose her mind. Your mom already lost her mind. Somewhere around the 3rd mortgage refinance to maintain appearances. I pulled into the parking garage of a sleek glass building downtown. Welcome to your new home. At least temporarily. The loft was my sanctuary, 2,200 square feet of exposed brick, floor-to-ceiling windows, and carefully curated furniture from estate sales and auctions. Everything in it was beautiful and everything was bought at a fraction of retail. Marcus walked through slowly, taking it all in. This is incredible. Thank you. I've been working on it for 2 years. Why didn't you ever bring me here? Because your mother always insisted on Sunday dinners. And Monday family meetings. And Tuesday tennis at the club. And Wednesday. I trailed off. I brought you here twice. You fell asleep both times because you were exhausted from trying to meet her expectations. He flinched. God, I've been such an idiot. Not an idiot. Just, conditioned. Your mother is a narcissist, Marcus. A master manipulator. She's been training you to seek her approval your entire life. My phone buzzed. Jeff, my realtor, she's calling me crying. Says you're heartless. Want me to block her number? I texted back, no. Tell her the lease agreement is non-negotiable. And sent her the move-in checklist. Another text came through, this one from a number I didn't recognize. This is Bethany. You're destroying our family. I hope you're happy. I showed it to Marcus. Jesus, he muttered. Block her. No. Let them be upset. They're losing control and they don't know how to handle it. I poured us both a glass of wine, a nice Pinot Noir I bought in bulk from a winery going out of business. $8 a bottle, tastes like $30. Can I ask you something? Marcus settled onto my couch, finally relaxing for the first time all evening. Anything. When did you stop loving my family? I thought about it. I never loved them, Marcus. How could I? They never gave me a chance. But I stopped trying to win their approval about 6 months ago. That's when I started planning my exit strategy. The foreclosure? No, that was just fortunate timing. I meant emotionally. I decided I wouldn't attend another Sunday dinner where I was insulted. Wouldn't smile through another backhanded compliment. Wouldn't pretend their classism was just concern. But you kept going. Because you asked me to. Because you kept saying, just one more dinner, she'll come around. I sat beside him. But she wasn't going to come around, baby. People like your mother don't change. They just get louder when you stop obeying. His phone started ringing. Patricia. He declined the call. It rang again. He declined again. 5 more times in rapid succession. She's going to keep calling, he said. Then turn off your phone. She'll show up here. She doesn't know where here is. And this building has excellent security. I curled into his side. Marcus, you need to decide what you want. I'm not giving you an ultimatum, but you need to be clear about boundaries. Your mother will test them constantly. I want you. I want this. Whatever life we can build without their toxicity. He kissed my forehead. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. Better late than never. We fell asleep on the couch, both emotionally exhausted. I woke at 3 a.m. to my phone buzzing insistently. A string of texts from Patricia, this is theft. I'm calling my lawyer. You won't get away with this. Marcus will see who you really are. Gold-digging trash. And finally, please. We have nowhere to go. That last one almost got me. Almost. I texted back, the lease agreement stands. Sign it or don't. Your choice. Morning brought unexpected news. Jeff called at 7 a.m. You're not going to believe this, he said, sounding both amused and shocked. Patricia Whitmore filed a complaint with the real estate board. Says you engaged in predatory business practices. I sat up, careful not to wake Marcus. What exactly did she claim? That you deliberately targeted her property because of a personal vendetta. That you manipulated the foreclosure process. That you're using your position as a real estate professional to exploit vulnerable homeowners. And what did the board say? They laughed her out of the office. Everything you did was legal and above board. You bought a property at a public auction with your own money. The fact that you have a personal relationship with the previous owner is irrelevant. He paused. But Natalie, this is going to get ugly. She's calling everyone. The media, other realtors, anyone who will listen. Let her. The truth is on my side. I know, but... Jeff, I grew up with people talking about me. Poor white trash. That waitress's kid. She'll end up pregnant at 16 just like her cousin. I survived that. I'll survive this. You're tougher than you look, Nat. I have to be. By noon, the story had spread through Patricia's social circle like wildfire. My phone was flooded with messages, some supportive, many condemning. The country club wives were particularly vicious, calling me everything from a social climber to a home wrecker. Marcus read them over my shoulder, his face darkening with each one. These people are supposed to be our friends, he said. They're not our friends. They're your mother's flying monkeys. They repeat whatever she says without question. Should I respond? Defend you? No. Let them talk. The more they talk, the more they reveal about themselves. I handed him my phone. Read this one. From Janet Morrison. He read aloud, How dare you attack poor Patricia? She's been nothing but welcoming to you despite your background. He looked up. Despite your background? What the hell? She means despite being poor. Despite being from Mississippi. Despite not going to Vassar or summering in the Hamptons. I shrugged. Their classism is showing. I never realized how toxic they all were. You weren't supposed to notice. You were born into it. It was normal to you. A knock at the door interrupted us. Building security calling up. Ms. Reeves? There's a Patricia Whitmore in the lobby demanding to see you. She's quite insistent. I looked at Marcus. He nodded. Send her up. But security stays close by. 3 minutes later, Patricia Whitmore stood in my doorway looking like she hadn't slept. Her hair, usually perfectly styled, was unwashed. No makeup. Yoga pants and a Northwestern sweatshirt. I'd never seen her so undone. May I come in? I stepped aside. Marcus stood behind me, protective. Patricia walked in slowly, taking in the loft with an appraiser's eye. I could see her calculating, the exposed brick, the view, the finishes. This is yours, she asked. Yes. It's beautiful. Thank you. We stood in awkward silence. Finally, Patricia spoke. I was wrong. The words hung in the air like something fragile and dangerous. About what specifically? I asked. Because you've been wrong about a lot of things. She flinched but didn't argue. About you. About your background. About your intentions with Marcus. She looked at her son. About everything, really. Mom, Marcus started, but she held up a hand. Let me finish. Please. She turned back to me. I grew up poor too. Not trailer park poor, but poor enough. My father was a mechanic. My mother cleaned houses. I married Gregory because he had money and status, things I'd never had. She laughed bitterly. Ironic, isn't it? I married for money and lost it all anyway. What happened? I asked, genuinely curious. Gregory's gambling. Started 15 years ago. Poker, sports betting, online casinos. He was good at hiding it until he wasn't. By the time I found out, we were already drowning. She sank onto my couch uninvited, looking suddenly old. The business, the house, everything was mortgaged multiple times. I kept up appearances because that's all I had left. The image. The status. So you took it out on me, I said quietly. Yes. Because you reminded me of who I was. Where I came from. And you didn't seem ashamed of it. She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. You owned it. Your past, your success, all of it. And I hated you for that. For having the courage I never did. Marcus sat down beside his mother, confused and hurt radiating off him. You've been lying about the money for years? Yes. And the gambling? Yes. Does Dad know you're here? No. He's at a facility. Rehab. For gambling addiction. I checked him in yesterday. The revelations kept coming, each one landing like a punch. So the house, I said. The foreclosure. You really have nowhere to go? Patricia nodded. I have some money from my mother's life insurance. Enough for first and last month's rent somewhere. But my credit is destroyed. And my reputation. She laughed bitterly. Well, after yesterday's performance and today's phone calls, I'm the pariah of the year. Good, I said simply. She looked startled. I beg your pardon? Good. You should be a pariah. You've spent 3 years making my life miserable. Calling me names, excluding me, lying about me to anyone who would listen. I crossed my arms. Now you know how it feels. You're right. I deserve it. Yes, you do. I sat across from her. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign the lease agreement. You're going to pay rent on time every month. And you're going to apologize, publicly, for every lie you've told about me. And if I do all that? Then you get to keep living in your house. Your son gets to maintain a relationship with his mother. And maybe, someday, if you prove you've actually changed, we can have Sunday dinners that don't end in trauma. Patricia stared at me for a long moment. You're not what I thought you were. No, I'm exactly what you thought I was. I'm just also successful and smarter than you gave me credit for. I leaned forward. Patricia, I don't hate you. I pity you. You spent so much time protecting an image that you destroyed the real thing. Your marriage, your relationship with your son, your integrity. All gone because you couldn't admit you were struggling. I didn't know how, she whispered. Then learn. Get therapy. Join a support group for families of gambling addicts. Do the work. I softened slightly. I grew up with nothing, Patricia. Nothing. But my mama taught me that asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You could have come to me years ago, explained the situation. I would have helped. Instead, you chose cruelty. Marcus put his arm around his mother as she started to cry real tears, not the manipulative ones I'd seen her deploy at family gatherings. I'm sorry, she said, looking at me. For all of it. You're right about everything. I was cruel and classist and I'm sorry. It wasn't enough. Not nearly enough to make up for 3 years of abuse. But it was a start. Sign the lease, I said. Pay your rent. Get your life together. Those are my terms. She nodded, wiping her eyes. And us? You and me? We'll see. Trust is earned, Patricia. You've got a long way to go. She left 20 minutes later with the lease agreement and a referral to a good therapist who specialized in family dynamics and addiction. Marcus walked her to her car, a 5-year-old Honda she'd borrowed from Bethany, the Bentley having been repossessed the day before. When he came back up, he looked exhausted. That was intense, he said. That was necessary. Do you think she means it? The apology. I think she's desperate enough to mean it right now. Whether she means it long-term remains to be seen. I pulled him down onto the couch. Marcus, I need you to understand something. I didn't buy that house for revenge. I bought it because it was a good investment property in a desirable neighborhood going for $300,000 below market value, but the timing was fortunate. I'd been watching that property for months. When it went into foreclosure, I moved on it. The fact that it's your mother's house was almost secondary. Almost? I smiled slightly. Okay, maybe I enjoyed it a little bit. But that wasn't the primary motivation. You're terrifying, you know that? Good. People should be a little scared of women who know their worth. 3 months later, Patricia had paid rent on time every month. Gregory was out of rehab and attending GA meetings 3 times a week. They'd both apologized publicly, a post on Facebook that went viral in their social circle. The country club wives stopped calling. Most of them, anyway. A few reached out privately, asking for real estate advice or admitting they were in financial trouble too. Marcus and I stayed in the loft. Turned out we both loved it, the city views, the lack of yard work, the distance from his family's drama. Sunday dinners resumed, but at our place, with our rules. No talk of money. No insults. No bringing up the past. Small steps, but steps nonetheless. Patricia still struggled with her need for appearances, but she was trying. Baby steps, therapy, honest conversations. One Sunday, as I served dessert, a homemade peach cobbler, my mama's recipe, Patricia touched my hand. Thank you, she said quietly. For not giving up on us completely. Thank you for finally seeing me, I replied. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't even good most days. But it was real, and honest, and built on something other than pretense. And as I watched Marcus laugh at something his father said, as I saw Patricia smile without that edge of desperation, I realized something: sometimes the best revenge isn't cruelty. It's boundaries. It's self-respect. It's refusing to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. I'd bought my mother-in-law's house at foreclosure, yes. But what I'd really purchased was my own dignity. And that was priceless. My phone buzzed. Jeff, my realtor, just closed on that property downtown. 8 units. All rented. You're officially a real estate mogul. I texted back, cool. What's for lunch? Because that's the thing about success, real success. It's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about building a life you don't need to escape from. And I'd finally built mine.